Reliance Industries, owing to all the action around Russian oil imports and the uncertainty around the tariffs which are likely to strike India on importing Russian oil, is something which is weighing in on investor sentiment this morning. So Reliance Industries is down about 0.6% or so in trade. Meanwhile, mixed views coming for the IT sector. Remember, they had a bull run yesterday. Stocks of TCS were up as much as 2.5% or so in trade on Monday. But this morning, there's some correction which is seen at TCS as well as Infosys. Remember, both these stocks were in the green yesterday. Meanwhile, the auto sector also seems to be mixed. While Mahindra & Mahindra is down about 0.25%, Maruti Suzuki is up about 0.9 of a percentage point. Tata Motors, meanwhile, up about 0.5% or so. Remember, the data on automobile sales, retail level sales, is likely to be released by FADA today. So we will, of course, keep a watch on that as well. Meanwhile, banks are also a little mixed, maybe awaiting RBI's rate decision as the MPC concludes tomorrow and Governor Sanjay Malhotra announces the decision of the MPC on rates. Nischal Maheshwari, market expert, joins us this morning. Mr. Maheshwari, good morning. Thank you so much for your time. Help us understand, is there a trend line that you can see in markets this morning? Because it seems to be a sort of mixed bag and no real worry or a cause of celebration.
Morning, Kartik. Morning to your viewers also. So, yeah, it seems to be waiting for a final outcome as far as tariffs are concerned. So, I think that's why markets are a bit jittery. Otherwise, also, I think if you look at the earnings side, earnings also has been a bit tepid only.
Right.
But more or less to the expectations. But overall, you are seeing that this year it's going to be a higher single-digit kind of earning growth. So
Right.
that's why market is just, I'm saying, meandering sort of a situation.
Right, meandering with no real trend lines that can be seen at least clearly this morning. But two headline events likely this week. Number one, by way of RBI's MPC decision expected at 10 a.m. tomorrow. And then, of course, the 7th, 8th midnight is when tariffs kick in. Now, we don't know yet whether there is going to be an additional tariff on India. Donald Trump has been threatening adding an additional penalty on India for importing Russian oil, and that's keeping energy markets a little bit jittery. But beyond that, is there any other trigger which markets are waiting for? Or do you think after the MPC decision and the tariff, the final tariff decision, there is going to be some stability?
So market always looks for basically ending the uncertainty. And once your tariffs are in and I think the Trump administration decides at what kind of penalty, I think market is just going to say, okay, this is the kind of loss or this is the kind of amount which India has to pay up. And that's the end of it. Basically, they'll factor in and move on. That's
Right.
what happens basically. The uncertainty is the problem basically which the market doesn't like. And once this uncertainty is over, you are clear, this is the kind of loss or profit you have, and the market moves on.
Right.
So that's why I think market is just waiting for that final number to come out.
Right. And if the final number is 25%, no change, is that now likely to be seen as good news for the market? Because market seems to be pricing in the 25% tariff plus some penalty on import of Russian oil. But if the number stays at 25%, do you see some momentum to come back in stocks?
I think so. Basically, at least the bottom will be made, because if you really look at it from the Liberation Day tariffs which Mr. Trump put out, you are at 25% is still 1% less.
Right.
At that, you are at 26.
Right.
So you're 25 now, and if there is no penalty, I think then that's the bottom for all this uncertainty.
Right. And if the penalty were to come in, worst case scenario, how bad do you think the impact is going to be on stocks, sir?
I don't know basically what kind of, because the number can be anything. So then it is open basically. If the number is higher, then obviously market is going to react very negatively. But I'm saying if it is 2-5% kind of a thing number, then I think market will just maybe one day down and then go on. But if the number is higher, then I think market is going to reassess and try and understand what will be the implications.
All right. Now, let's talk about sectors, Mr. Maheshwari. I want to specifically come to the FMCG sector. And of course, we saw healthy gains yesterday. In fact, even last week seemed to be good for FMCG. But we are seeing a massive correction this morning. HUL is down about 0.6 of a percentage point. Exactly the same sentiment coming from Nestle as well as Tata Consumers. Now, is this again waiting for some sort of a guidance on inflation which is likely to come from RBI tomorrow? Is it waiting for some rate decision, by the RBI, or is there something going on in the FMCG stocks this morning? Because we haven't really seen this sector-wide correction in the recent past.
So I think inflation is pretty much down basically. If you really look at it, even the wholesale has been down less than 2% for some time now. And even the most of the economists have put out basically something like a 3 to 4% kind of a number for the rest of the year. So I don't think so. Inflation is a worry. Interest rate cut also, I do not expect it happening tomorrow for the reason because RBI is already front loaded 100 basis point cut. And you are seeing this kind of uncertainty when the Fed is not cutting, then I think beyond this, I don't think so RBI is going to do anything for the moment. I think there is some amount of profit taking because the stocks have, I think each one of them have run up for some, maybe 5-10%, and the uncertainties around the market. And that's why I think some amount of profit taking is happening.
All right, so profit taking perhaps on the FMCG space. But let's also talk about the banking space, Mr. Maheshwari, because HDFC Bank is down about 1% or so, again, perhaps in anticipation of some profit booking before RBI's rate decision tomorrow. But there are some views, while you're not expecting a rate cut tomorrow because 1% has already been given to consumers, but there are some quarters of economists who are expecting that perhaps this is again a good time for RBI to cut rates, simply because with the tariff uncertainty, there could be some spurt by way of growth which the RBI gives by cutting another 25 basis points. How valid is that reasoning?
So I told you earlier, I do not expect any rate cut to happen. And the logic being that you already front-loaded 100 basis point. Fed is not cut. Fed is still saying that they are watching the numbers. So I think you cannot be far away from that because otherwise you'll have pressure on the rupee, which we already have. And I don't think so any further rate cut is going to give a very strong impetus to the economy. Because I think the demand has to come, not cutting rates will sort out things.